Fat Joe said that.
Fat Joe's a
Lean back.
We've been leaning back for 20 years, man. Like,
He said you crowned yourself the rat leader and you wrote the 48 laws of snitching.
Get me in trouble. For sure. Where did you feel after warning Tekashi?
Oh.
Because I saw it when you sat with him. And I was like, Joe is trying to put him on right now. And
I'm going to just be honest with you. Damn, you went there?
Yeah, I went there.
This is a sucker. Easily.
6ix9ine just shook things up again during his sit-down with the Dancer Project. He didn't hold back when the host brought up Fat Joe's long history of comments about him, and what he said had everyone's jaws on the floor. He didn't just respond. He exposed Fat Joe with details that, after checking, turned out to be 100% accurate. Now, before we dive into what 6ix9ine dropped, let's rewind for a second. Fat Joe has been relentless when it comes to dragging 6ix9ine for years. Every time he's got a mic in front of him, he's had something to say. We're talking interviews going back 2-3 years, like the one he did on Math Hoffa's My Expert Opinion, where he completely went off, calling 6ix9ine all kinds of—
Hey, 6ix9ine sat on that stand. Oh, man. You remember, if you're watching the story, they taking him to court in bulletproof vests. They acting like he was telling on El Chapo. He put a lot of good people in jail, man. It's not entertainment.
Don't tell, dog.
No. He put guys in jail for 20 years. Nice guys who co-signed him. He's out of jail. And he goes on his live. I'm not even gonna lie. I watched it from a dummy account too. He had 2 million. You remember that, nephew? You remember that? He had 2 million people watching on live. You remember that, right? True or false? 2 million to see a rat. Even I was under a dummy account looking at what he gonna say. When he did that, it told the youth, oh, it's over. You could rap, whatever the case may be. Come home, you still a shit. You lit, 2 million this. He in Europe and all that touring. He still, I don't know what his finances is. I hope he's broke. But the man, now I'm keep.
Just last month, Fat Joe was still going in, showing he's got no chill when it comes to this topic. See, Fat Joe's whole stance has been clear. To him, 6ix9ine is one of the top 3 rats in hip-hop history. That's right, he said. If you line up everyone from the streets who broke the code, 6ix9ine is sitting right there near the top. He even compared him to Alpo, saying he's part of the culture. But 6ix9ine is the most famous rat in hip-hop history. And like it or not, when most people think about snitching in this new era of rap, 6ix9ine's name is the first one that pops up. But here's where things get interesting. Fat Joe wasn't just mad because 6ix9ine cooperated with the feds. His anger goes deeper. He once revealed that he actually warned 6ix9ine about what was coming, told him that the RICO charges were on the way and to move smart. But 6ix9ine didn't listen. He kept doing what he was doing, and everything ended up crashing down exactly like Fat Joe said it would. Now here's the—
Get me in trouble.
For sure. Where did you feel after warning Tekashi?
Oh.
Because I saw it when you sat with him. And I was like, Joe is trying to put him on right now. And
I'm going to just be honest with you. Damn, you went there?
Yeah, I went there.
This is a sucker. Easily. A sucker.
Let me get yo.
Okay.
Another bottle, man.
I ain't drink. I'm dead sober.
Crazy. Talk, man.
No, I'm dead sober. This dude here, this type of shit, this doing, I'm convinced he want to die. I don't wish it on him or nothing like that, but I'm convinced he's miserable in his body. He can't look in the mirror. Nah, I don't know if he got to be. So now the man snitch, right? Cool, do you, whatever. I don't like the taunting. I try to tell him, like, what happens? Like, yo, bro, listen, I didn't know if he really did it. I didn't know what was going on.
Fat Joe's frustration seems to come from a mix of betrayal and disappointment. At his age, he's talked about wanting peace, maturity, and staying out of the drama. But every time someone brings up 6ix9ine, that calm flies right out the window. He said before, I'm not even 40 yet, but when you get older, you start to value peace.
When I talked to him in that interview, I talked to him off the air, and he lied to me and told me, yo, this is just an image, I'm fronting this and this and that. He told me that in front of Shotty and them. They were standing right there with him.
He said, what?
Joe, he told me that he was lying.
He said image.
Yo, Joe, I'm not really doing this. I'm not a gangster. You know, this is all for like promotion. I got it. At that point, I said, so you're not doing nothing because you're going to go to jail if you're really doing stuff.
Right.
Nah, Joe, I don't do nothing. I'm good. So I'm like,
Still, even when he's trying to chill, the mention of 6ix9ine pulls him right back into the fire. 6ix9ine didn't hold back one bit. He said straight up, I'm not out here calling people names or dissing anybody just to go viral. He made it clear he's not talking about snitching in interviews just for attention. and he's definitely not out here trying to drag anyone who hasn't done him wrong. He even said, he didn't snitch on me. He didn't snitch on anybody I know. According to 6ix9ine, the people Fat Joe was defending already knew what was coming. He warned them himself. They just didn't listen and still kept the same crowd around. And that's when things blew up. But here's where it gets spicy. 6ix9ine threw shade at how Fat Joe carries himself in hip-hop. He joked that Fat Joe's acting like the Prime Minister of hip-hop, walking around like it's his job to decide who's real and who's fake. Fat Joe has made being anti-rat his whole brand, and he stands on that like it's law. That's been his lane for years, no matter who's asking. And for a while, 6ix9ine let it slide, but clearly, he's done staying quiet. Now, fast forward to recently. Just a month ago, Fat Joe brought the whole topic back up again.
It's the event in hip-hop that broke the camel's back. Pause. To make it to where you could snitch. And if you make good music or something, you can still live out here in hip-hop. Like, what was the straw that broke the camel's back in hip-hop, where we had a code and there is no code no more? There just isn't no code no more. And what do you think is the event that, you know, I remember growing up, even if you was fronting, you wasn't a real gangster, but you was spitting gangster rap. You wasn't with the rats like that. Right now, this
too many of them
sold out concerts.
I don't think you can escape them. They're all a rat. They're like New York City rats. Humans. It's rats everywhere. You know? And everywhere is everything. You know?
Too many Fredos, not enough Michaels.
That's a fact.
You know, some of these guys got to take a boat ride, never come back. Sammy the Bull is the most famous rat on the earth. Sammy the Bull.
He sat down with Jadakiss, and during their talk, he admitted he'd been up late one night thinking hard about what kind of conversation would shake the internet. He said he came up with a perfect question: who started the snitching epidemic in hip-hop? And of course, the first name that came out of his mouth was 6ix9ine. Now hold on a second, that's where 6ix9ine draws the line. Because what does any of that have to do with the music right now? That's his point.
Then you came Alpo, guy everybody looked up to, charismatic, Harlem fly, Louis Vuitton, this, that, Toe. He did that, right?
Shout out to Wayne Perry and Wayne Perry Jr.
Then, in hip-hop, the day 6ix9ine sat on that stand.
Yeah.
No! You remember, if you're watching the story, they taking him to court in bulletproof vests. They acted like he was telling on El Chapo. He put a lot of good people in jail, man.
Facts.
No,
we gotta put him away till it's time.
Yo,
my feeling is gonna get close.
You feel it?
I feel his time has come. I feel his time is gonna be soon, though.
You don't need a lot.
Yeah.
Does it not matter no more? And I believe 6ix9ine, when he told, he gave guys 20 years in jail. All the guys, he was like, oh, but he fucked my wife. Oh, but he did. That means nothing. There's a man that works in a bodega that never been a criminal in his life, see some shit.
He feels like Fat Joe keeps bringing up his name to stay relevant in conversations that don't even involve him anymore. Let's be real. 6ix9ine hasn't dropped a hit in forever. Even fans admit it. His music used to shake the charts, no question about it. He had an era where every release went viral, every video had millions of views, and people couldn't stop talking about him. But these days, the sound just isn't connecting. The new songs, the snippets, the videos, they're not hitting like they used to, bro. Still, whether you like him or not, one thing's for sure, 6ix9ine's name still gets people talking. Every time someone like Fat Joe mentions him, the internet lights up all over again. Ain't nobody checking for 6ix9ine musically right now. Yeah, let's be honest. But the real question is, what does that have to do with the music itself? When you really think about it, most hip-hop listeners today aren't even from the streets. 6ix9ine made a solid point. About 90% of hip-hop's consumers come from outside the hood. Most of them never lived that street life people keep glorifying in songs. And he's right. Even within the black community, a lot of folks didn't grow up in dangerous neighborhoods. More people came up in regular working class areas than in the hood. And that's just reality. So, if the majority of hip-hop fans aren't street dudes, why should the code of the streets even apply to the music anymore? That's the question that's got everybody talking. Because at the end of the day, music is entertainment. And the people buying the tickets, streaming the songs, and filling the arenas don't live by those street codes Fat Joe keeps talking about. You can test it for yourself. Go to any major rap concert this year. Look at the crowd. At least 70% to 90% of the audience isn't black and definitely not from the hood. Go to a Drake show, for example. The fans singing every word probably couldn't even point to the block Drake rapped about. So why should their enjoyment of the music depend on whether an artist followed the streets? But that's exactly Fat Joe's issue. He keeps blaming 6ix9ine for breaking the rules, saying 6ix9ine's behavior messed up the balance and made loyalty look like a joke. To him, Tekashi took away all the codes that used to define real hip-hop. But 6ix9ine wasn't about to let that narrative slide. When he clapped back, he didn't deny a thing. He did the opposite. Instead of running from it, he owned it and flipped the script. He pointed straight at the hypocrisy of these so-called real ones.
I crown myself the rat leader. He crowned himself as the cap leader. He didn't rob no 50 at no gym. Yo, bro, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Which one's my camera? That one?
Yeah.
This one? That one? Yeah, Fat Joe, you're a you're I'm not even gonna lie, you're a captain of the cap. Like, nobody believe, even your co-host who's Jadakiss don't believe you. Every time you say a cap, that like, like, but like I said, you gonna go
flag, like
and
flag on the play.
And my next song, I even say, I be spitting so much facts that I make jokes to distract. That's the next bar in my song. Don't like the truth, so y'all make jokes to distract. We noticed lying, right?
He said, "You can't talk to me about morals, integrity, or honor when you're out here breaking your own codes." And honestly, that hit a nerve. 6ix9ine called out how some of these rappers love preaching about loyalty and street values in interviews, but behind closed doors, they move way different. He basically said, stop pretending you're the voice of the streets when your own circle don't even follow that same energy.
Alright, yo, listen to me. Listen.
But there's a lot of people that say he ain't lying.
He ain't lying?
Yeah.
Alright. Which one's my camera? If Fat Joe is not lying, the next person on the Dance Project, bring Big Pun's son. Bring Big Pun's son on the Dance Project. Welcome back.
Chris Rivers.
Welcome back, y'all. Let's skip this clip. Watch when he see this clip, he gonna hit up, yo, Chris, don't do that. How much money you need? Out of here. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, you just said a lot. You just said a lot.
Break Big Pun's son. Even on the verses, remember when he was facing Ja Rule?
Yeah.
And they said, don't play that shit. That's Big Pun. Don't do that. Don't do what, Fat?
And then, in the boldest move yet, he brought up Big Pun's son, turning the conversation into something way deeper and personal. It wasn't just about the snitching talk anymore. 6ix9ine was about to connect it all to a story that exposed a different side of Fat Joe's character entirely. Things were about to get real uncomfortable for Joe after that. So here's where 6ix9ine dropped the bomb that left everyone stunned. He said if Fat Joe wants to preach about morals, integrity, and street principles, then he better be ready to live by them all the way. Because by those same street rules Joe keeps talking about, a real one takes care of the people who came before him, especially the families of fallen homies. If your brother from the streets passes away, it's supposed to be your duty to look out for his loved ones. No excuses. You make sure their bills are paid, the kids are fed, and their future secure. That's the real definition of integrity in that world. But according to 6ix9ine, that's not what Fat Joe did at all. He brought up Big Pun's son for a reason, because that situation is the complete opposite of what Fat Joe claims to stand for. 4 years now, the late Big Pun's family has accused Fat Joe of keeping money that rightfully belongs to them from Pun's music catalog. Imagine that. Someone who talks about loyalty and brotherhood allegedly not paying the family of the man who helped put him on the map. That's wild. The accusations go deep too. Fat Joe once claimed he gave Big Pun's family $1 million, trying to show that he did right by them. But Pun's wife came out publicly and called cap.
When she came to me and told me that, we did 2 projects and we got her, not us. We didn't take $1. We got her $1 million for her and the family. Now she ran through it because she was used to spending that money. She comes back, I write her a check out my pocket, boom, and I'm like, yo, it ain't no more after.
With Joe Cartagena, Fat Joe, where, you know, you got to file a lawsuit to figure out what actually happened and to find out where is the money. So today, although Fat Joe's lawyers originally filed an answer in the case, they subsequently filed a motion to dismiss, as did Jelly's Jams, not claiming that they don't owe any money, but just making technical legal arguments that basically saying that Liza can't sue them for one reason or another. We feel pretty good about the hearing. There was a hearing that took place today, oral arguments for our side and for Jelly's Jams and Fat Joe, to talk about why we believe that they should be kept in this case, and why we believe that they basically had fiduciary duties, meaning a higher standard than a breach of contract standard, to pay Liza monies that were due her husband so that her family can benefit.
She said, "That's not true. We never received $1 million from Fat Joe." She and the family even took legal action against him, filing a lawsuit to get what they say they're owed from Big Pun's royalties. Now, from what's known, that case either ended in her favor or is still making its way through the courts. But the point is, those checks weren't adding up. The family said they were being told there was no money coming in, that the profits were going toward prior obligations. But when they started digging into the paperwork, they found something completely different. There was money coming in. It was being collected, just not by them.
You asked if it was a rehashing. Well, in some ways it's the same issue. The big question is, where's the money, right? So, and there's some new information has come to light just of late that is setting some light on what happened to the money. And so that's really why this lawsuit is being filed now. Over time, you're supposed to get royalties twice a year or whatever. And most of the time the accounts are saying they're unrecouped. So when an artist is getting statements that say they're unrecouped, there's really no reason for them to think that there should be money there. Right. In this particular case, we found a reason to believe that there really should be some more money there. And that is that we found out that in foreign territories overseas, that the writer splits are not properly reflected for the songs the way they should have been, and that's indicating that there was some money that was collected there that shouldn't have been collected. So that's where we're after. We're trying to pursue. Actually, the important thing is that now artists are also getting paid for that money. ASCAP and BMI, the traditional, societies that collect money for songwriters, have been able to collect money for those streaming services and other, new technology.
And this is where 6ix9ine twisted the knife. He basically said, "How can you talk about morals and ethics when you didn't even take care of your man's family?" He made it sound like Fat Joe was living a double life, talking about codes and loyalty in interviews while allegedly playing with a bag behind closed doors. Let's be real, that's a heavy accusation, because in street culture, that kind of betrayal is worse than snitching. 6ix9ine made it clear, from my perspective, doing something like that, stealing from your brother's legacy, is worse than telling on criminals. And honestly, a lot of people agreed with him. Now the question is, can Fat Joe come back from something like this? Because once your integrity is questioned that deeply, especially about someone like Big Pun, the streets don't forget. After 6ix9ine dropped those claims about Fat Joe and Big Pun's family, the internet went into full meltdown mode. People started digging up old interviews, court records, and clips where the tension between Joe and Big Pun's family had been quietly boiling for years. What was once whispered in the background suddenly turned into a full-blown debate about loyalty, legacy, and money. Three things that define the hip-hop world like nothing else. Fans were split down the middle. Some said, "Yo, 6ix9ine's just trying to stir the pot again." Others said, "Hold on, he might actually be telling the truth." Because the receipts were there, screenshots, statements, and legal paperwork started circulating online. People began questioning whether Fat Joe had really handled things the right way when it came to Big Pun's legacy. The crazy part is, this situation exposed a bigger issue in the industry. How artists' families often get left behind once the spotlight fades. Big Pun was a legend, no doubt about it. But after his passing, it's like the business side got murky real fast. 6ix9ine wasn't just calling out Joe personally. He was highlighting how the music industry sometimes forgets the very people who built its foundation. Meanwhile, 6ix9ine started doubling down in interviews, saying, "They call me fake, they call me a rat, but I never stole from nobody's family." That hit deep, because for all his controversies, he was challenging one of hip-hop's most respected veterans on moral grounds. And that's not something people see every day. Fat Joe hasn't exactly stayed quiet either. He's defended himself multiple times, insisting that the situation's being twisted and that he's always done right by Pun's family. But still, the public perception has shifted. People are watching closely now. This whole back and forth has turned into more than just a beef. It's become a mirror showing how messy the line between friendship and business can get in hip-hop. When money, loyalty, and legacy collide, the truth always finds a way to surface. And right now, that truth is shaking up the culture in a major way. Now, with everything that's come out, this whole Fat Joe and 6ix9ine situation feels bigger than just another hip-hop feud. It's a spotlight on how real life and rap politics collide. 6ix9ine might not be the most loved artist out there, but this time, he didn't sound like he was lying. The man came with receipts, confidence, and energy that had everyone watching, wondering if Fat Joe's clean image might finally be cracking under pressure. Fat Joe's legacy has always been built on respect, loyalty, and street credibility. But when stories like this start resurfacing, it makes people look at the legend differently. Can you really stand on morals and codes when there are families saying they were left behind? That's the question fans keep asking. And whether people want to admit it or not, 6ix9ine managed to turn the tables, using Fat Joe's own words and reputation against him in a way nobody expected. The wild part is, this beef has reignited old wounds across hip-hop. Fans are bringing up other cases of artists not paying dues, families still fighting for royalties, and rappers preaching loyalty while moving shady behind the scenes. It's like one spark from 6ix9ine set off an entire firestorm of truth-checking across the industry. At this point, Fat Joe might need to speak directly on the situation again, because silence in moments like this only makes people talk louder. Whether it's through an interview or a statement, fans are waiting for answers. Until then, the internet's going to keep replaying every clip, every quote, every shady moment, with Big Pun's name attached to it. But what do you think? Did 6ix9ine finally expose something real? Or is this just another round of hip-hop drama gone too far? Drop your thoughts down below in the comments. I want to hear what y'all think about this mess. And before you go, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more of the wildest celebrity stories out there. I'll see you in the next one.